Bucks versus who will survive. Kentucky, Amazon, 1791 midnight. That's when the watchdog barked, tearing through the Kentucky silence. In 1791, every settler knew that sound meant danger. Real danger. But hold on. Because in one isolated cabin, when terror came knocking, a legend was about to be forged. Mrs. John Merrill, with nothing but an axe and nerves of steel, was about to show what frontier courage looked like. This is Raw History Shadows, suspense and a fight for survival you won't believe. Ready to dig up some killer stories from the past? Hit subscribe to Native Legends and History Stories. For Edge of your seat, Tales from Old School America. Spring 1787. Bourbon County woods. Think shadows and secrets. More than just critters were creeping around those trees. Native American warriors, quiet as ghosts, moving like smoke through the forest. Moccasins, silent on the wet ground. Settler cabins, scattered in the open. Easy pickings, each family knowing peace could explode into chaos any second. April 11th. Widow Scragg's place. Quiet as a tomb in the fading light. 8 souls inside those rough-cut walls. The widow, her 6 kids. 1 grandkid. Sunrise. 5 dead, scalped war trophies. The 3 who made it out of there shaken but alive. Already thinking stronger walls, tougher door scores out here in Kentucky. Tomorrow's safety, never a sure thing. Word got around the settlement like crazy. Fire window shutters slammed shut. Reinforced kids kept close. And out in the trees, more parties gathering steam, campfires hidden. But everyone feeling that icy fear in their bones. Sun barely peeking over the trees. When a figure stumbles out of the Kentucky bush, folks froze. White skin, yeah, but tanned leather tough, moving like a warrior, wild eyes darting around. Checking everything, hands up. Peace sign, help, gotta warn, he croaked. Words, all messed up English and Indian jumbled together. 20 years with the tribes had wiped out. His first language name. Hometown headshake. Memories gone, replaced by hunting. Fighting lessons from the warrior who raised him. Like his own son, settlers circled up, rifles ready, every move screamed. Raised by Indians, balanced on his toes, eyes always watching the tree line. Broken words, yeah, but the story tumbled out. Adopted dad, younger brother, war party heading straight for Kentucky, Ohio. River crossing, near Licking Mouth. Canoe buried, to hide from the sun. Owl, cried warning. He explains, pointing to the night sky. Dad heard death in that hoot. Begged him to turn back. Young pride though. They pushed on till the sight of settler cabins woke something up inside the kid. A pullback to his own kind. Spy one settler grumbled. Finger on the trigger, scouts always come first. Checking our defenses prove he's legit. He'll lead 20 riders straight to the war party's trail. Deal but one, ask my father. My brother let him live. Settler faces, stone cold. No promises, first camp spot. They find proof iron kettles stashed in a hollow tree. Just like he said, second stop. Tragedy hits hard, dad and brother chilling by a fire. Cooking deer meat, clueless. Rifles are zeroed in on them. No kid yells, too late dad. No surrender fights like a cornered wolf. Bullets fly. Deserter jumps off his horse, runs to the fallen man. Old man's hand reaches up, touches his boy's face one last time, forgiveness flashing in his eyes. Then gone, younger brother. Just a kid bolts for the hidden canoe. Kid begs for mercy, but bullets don't listen. Boy leaps, graceful jump, then falls, still on the river sand. I proved I was telling the truth with my father's blood. He spits out bitter, let my brother go, but frontier justice. No mercy in it. Settlers ain't forgetting the Scraggs massacre. Weeks ago, days after the weight of it all. Settler lives saved, adopted family destroyed. Crushed him one morning. Bed empty, some say he went back to his native folks, carrying guilt others. He went looking for white kin in Virginia, Pennsylvania. Truth vanished with him into the wild. Lived 2 lives, tried to bridge him, ended up breaking both families. The one who raised him, the one he tried to save. Nelson County, Summer, Kentucky, 1791 midnight. Forests around the Merrill cabin holding its breath. Dog barks, sharp, urgent, not some casual deer alert. The kind of danger bark every frontier family dreads. John Merrill's boots scrape rough wood floor as he familiar rifle weight ain't comfort enough. As he moves to the door, dog barking louder. Then silence. Second, he cracks the door. 6-7 rifles explode in the dark. Lead rips through arm thigh, sends him down hard, door shut it. He chokes out blood soak in the floor. Wife moves quick, bolts the door. but attackers already tomahawk smashing wood. Every hit echoes like Mrs. Merrill wasn't backing down. Not 1 inch. Years of busting her, but on the frontier, had turned her into raw muscle and killer instincts. Folks weren't lying when they called her a real Amazon. She was as strong as any dude out there, and tonight was gonna be the ultimate test. As that door started to cave, splintering wider, she planted herself right in front of the gap, axe held high and ready. First warrior, dumb enough to try and squeeze through. Wham! Axe came down like a lightning strike. Perfect aim. Second one right behind him. Same deal. Then came a third. Then a fourth. Each one thinking they could overpower her. Force their way in? Nope. Each one dropped like a stone, thanks to her non-stop defense, their blood mixing right there with the sawdust flying off the busted door. These warriors, they weren't idiots. They realized head-on wasn't gonna cut it against this woman. Suddenly, moccasined feet started scratching against the roof, scrambling up the shingles, trying to find another way in the chimney. Sneaky devils inside the cabin. Mrs. Merrill had like seconds to react. Think fast now. Here's where the history books get a little fuzzy, telling slightly different versions of what happened next. One story goes, Mrs. Merrill, all on her own, ripped open their only feather bed. Imagine feathers everywhere, and just dumped the whole mess right onto the dying embers in the fireplace. Poof, instant smoke bomb. Another version written down by Reverend James B. Finley, way back in 1860, gives props to her sons for this quick thinking, saying they did it under their mum's orders. Either way, what's for sure is thick black smoke, choking and nasty, started billowing up that chimney like crazy. Two warriors caught totally off guard, blinded, and coughing their lungs out, lost their footing, and just tumbled right down into the fireplace. Talk about a bad fall, trapped in that tight cabin space. They were sitting ducks for Mrs. Merrill's axe. Whether she finished them off solo, or if her wounded husband and kids jumped in to help, that's still a bit of a mystery. Something historians still argue about. The last warrior standing, he made one final desperate run at the busted door. Big mistake. Mrs. Merrill's axe flashed out again, opened up a nasty gash right across his cheek, sent him yelping and scrambling back into the night, howling like a coyote. He wasn't just running back to children with a scar on his face either. He was carrying a story, something that become legend, whispered around campfires by both settlers and native tribes. Those squaws fight worse than the long knives, he reportedly said, using the native slang for white settlers. His words, jotted down by some prisoner who was there when he got back, made Mrs. Merrill stand legendary in both cultures, passed down through generations by word of mouth. The different stories about that night, some saying 4 warriors went down, others saying 7. Just shows you how history, especially frontier history, can get a little mixed up over time, but those little details don't really matter. The main point, the solid truth, still shines through. A frontier woman, armed with nothing but an axe and guts of steel, held her ground, defended her family against impossible odds. Mrs. Merrill's life didn't end with that bloody night. Not by a long shot. After John Merrill passed away, she hitched up with a Mr. Hunter, remarried, and settled down along Paint Creek. In 1797, she joined the Methodist Episcopal Church, which kind of suggests she found some peace, some quiet, after all that frontier violence, founded in her faith when she finally passed on. They say she died in the triumphs of faith. Reverend Finley, the guy who wrote down her story in 1860, actually heard the whole thing straight from Mrs. Merrill herself. Him mentioning her faith and peaceful end, it's a powerful contrast to the wild violence of her earlier life, reminds you that frontier folks weren't just tough fighters, they were real people, complex, searching for meaning, for community, even in the chaos of the border. Her story throws a wrench in those simple stories we tell about frontier women. Lots of history books paint women as victims, or just watching from the sidelines, while the men did the fighting. Mrs. Merrill, she proved women could be right there on the front lines defending their homes tooth and nail. And it wasn't just about brute strength either. Her cabin defense showed she was thinking tactical. Using that featherbed trick against the chimney attack, smart moves, the Amazon of Kentucky. She never went looking for fame or glory. She fought because she had to. Plain and simple then, she just kept on living her life, focused on her fate. So Mrs. Merrill's cabin story, it was a hit. Everyone knew about it, but guess what? Over by Short Creek, Kentucky, another crazy thing happened. Two little boys were about to prove on the frontier, even kids could be super tough. Henry and James Johnson were just messing around, playing a bit away from their cabin, when the woods went from normal to creepy. Just like that. Two native warriors popped out of nowhere, quiet as ghosts, and grabbed the boys, before they could even let out a yell, as they were dragged deeper into the wilderness. Poor little James, he couldn't hold back the tears, started to crying. Little brother, chill out, Henry whispered, putting his arm around James, trying to make him feel safe. I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. He was just a kid himself. Yeah, but Henry's words, they sounded like a grown man making a serious promise. Miles into the thick woods, these guys finally stopped for the night, set up camp. Each warrior just held on to one of the boys, held them tight against their chest while they bedded down to sleep. James, totally wiped out from being scared and having to walk so far, just zonked out, fell asleep right there in his captor's big, muscly arms. But Henry, no way, he was sleeping. He was wide awake, brain just spinning, thinking of any way to get out of this mess. The campfire was burning low, just embers glowing. Henry could feel the warrior's grip start to loosen up, hear that deep, steady breathing. Yeah, the guy was out cold, slow as molasses, like moving underwater. He managed to wiggle himself free from the warrior's arms. Standing there by the fire, in the flickering light, he had a choice to make. Ditch his brother, run for it alone, into the dark, or risk everything, go all in to save James too. No question in his mind, James. He breathed, whisper quiet, gently shaking his little brother. Wake up, but be quiet. You hear the younger boy's eyes shot open wide. But Henry just put a finger to his lips, telling him to keep it zipped, real careful. Super slow, he helped James slide out of the sleeping warrior's grip. Henry, he knew what he was doing. Moving with a plan, he poked at the fire, getting it burning a bit brighter, watching those warriors, checking for any sign they were waking up. The flames threw dancing shadows all over their faces, but they just kept on sleeping, didn't budge. Quietly, Henry picked up one of the warrior's guns, heavy thing, and pointed the barrel right at the ear of one of the sleeping guys. He took James's small hand, put it on the trigger, guided his fingers. When you see my tomahawk start to drop, Henry whispered, barely making a sound. You gotta pull this trigger. Don't even think, don't just wait. Pull it, got it. That moment stretched out forever. Like time, just stopped. Henry raised the tomahawk. That sharp edge glinted in the firelight. He started to bring it down. A deadly swing, and then crack. The rifle blast just tore through the night. The first warrior, he just twitched once real hard, and then went totally still. Go for it, James. Do yours now, Henry yelled, voice all shaky, pumped with adrenaline. I did mine already, James shouted back. Just as tense, Henry's tomahawk slammed home, finding its target, but the second warrior. He wasn't done yet, took a few more hits. Henry just laying into him before finally silence dropped back down on the forest, clearing the two boys. Just stood there, over their captors, chests puffing in and out, trying to catch their breath, fear slowly starting to fade. We gotta get out of here, Henry said, grabbing his brother's hand tight right now. Before anyone else shows up, let's go, and they were off. Moving through the dark woods like shadows, every little twig snap, making them jump out of their skin. Just as the first light of dawn started peeking through